Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path leads to an extraordinary life filled with growth, passion, and fulfillment. The other, a life of regret, wondering what could have been if you had just made that one bold decision. The truth is, your entire future is shaped by a single moment, the moment you decide. Think about it. Every major breakthrough in your life came when you made a real choice. Today, I'm going to show you how one decision, one powerful, committed decision, can transform your life forever. And by the end of this, you'll not only understand the power of decision making, but also have the tools to take action immediately. So let's dive in. Step 1, decisions shape destiny. Every aspect of your life right now is the result of decisions you've made in the past. The job you have, the relationships you're in, the financial situation you experience, all of it traces back to choices, big or small, that you made along the way. Some were conscious, intentional decisions. Others were made by default, simply by failing to choose differently. But regardless of how they were made, every decision shaped the path you are on today. Think about two people who grew up in the same neighborhood under the same circumstances. One rises to success, creating an extraordinary life, while the other struggles, feeling stuck and frustrated. What made the difference? Not luck, not genetics, not even talent. It was the choices they made. One person decided they wouldn't accept anything less than a great life, while the other allowed circumstances to dictate their future. History is filled with examples of people who change their destiny with a single decision. A person who decides they will no longer tolerate a toxic relationship takes control of their emotional well-being. An entrepreneur who decides to start a business despite fear and uncertainty creates opportunities that would have never existed otherwise. Someone who decides to prioritize their health and take action transforms their body, energy, and confidence. The challenge is that most people don't make real decisions. They wish, they hope, they say they want something, but they don't commit. A true decision is backed by action. It's a moment when you say, this is it. I will not go back. I will make this happen. That's when everything begins to shift. Every breakthrough in life starts with a decision. When you truly decide, you cut off all other possibilities and force yourself to move forward. There is no turning back, no safety net, no more debating. That level of certainty changes the way you think, the way you act, and the way you show up in the world. Most people never reach their full potential because they leave their destiny to chance. They react instead of deciding. They wait for the right time, which never comes. They let fear, doubt, and other people's opinions dictate their future. But those who take control of their lives know that one decision made with absolute commitment has the power to change everything. One choice made in a single moment can alter the course of an entire lifetime. Step 2, the pain of indecision is worse than the pain of action. Indecision is a silent thief. It drains your energy, kills your momentum, and keeps you stuck in a cycle of frustration and doubt. Every time you hesitate, every time you delay making a choice, you create more internal conflict. That inner battle, going back and forth, analyzing, overthinking, becomes exhausting. It eats away at your confidence, making you question yourself even more. And the longer you stay in that state of limbo, the harder it becomes to move forward. Think about the times you've put off making a decision. Maybe it was staying in a job you hated even though you knew it was time to move on. Maybe it was avoiding a difficult conversation with someone, allowing tension to build up for weeks, months, or even years. Maybe it was holding back on starting that business, taking that risk, or making that commitment simply because you weren't 100% sure of the outcome. What did it feel like? That weight in your chest, that constant nagging thought in the back of your mind, that fear of making the wrong decision? It becomes a heavy burden. The irony is that the pain of action, the discomfort of stepping into the unknown, of taking a risk, of making a choice, is temporary. But the pain of indecision, it lingers, it festers, it turns into regret. When you take action, you at least create movement. Even if you fail, even if things don't go perfectly, you gain clarity, you learn, you adjust. But when you remain stuck in indecision, nothing changes. You stay in the same place, battling the same thoughts, feeling the same frustration, and watching opportunities slip away. Indecision also destroys self-trust. Every time you avoid making a choice, you reinforce the belief that you're not capable of handling the consequences. You condition yourself to hesitate, to doubt, to seek external validation instead of relying on your own intuition and strength. And the longer this pattern continues, the more powerless you feel. Taking action, even when it's uncomfortable, is how you break free. The moment you make a decision, fully commit to it, you free yourself from the mental chaos. Yes, there might be challenges. Yes, there might be uncertainty, but action creates momentum, and momentum leads to progress. Step 3, massive action follows a true decision. A real decision is not just a thought, a wish, or a vague intention. It is a commitment backed by massive action. Most people think they've made a decision when they say, I want to lose weight, or I should start a business, or I need to change my life. But those statements are not decisions, they're preferences. A true decision is when you cut off all other possibilities and fully commit to making something happen no matter what. And when you do that, action naturally follows. Think about a time when you truly decided something in your life. Not when you were interested, not when you were thinking about it, but when you were all in. Maybe it was the moment you quit a toxic job, the moment you committed to a relationship, or the moment you took control of your health. What happened? You didn't just sit there thinking about it, you moved. You started making calls, changing your habits, and doing whatever it took to make that decision real. That's the power of a true decision. It's like flipping a switch in your mind. Suddenly, hesitation disappears, and you become laser focused. Your brain shifts from can I to how will I? And everything aligns toward making it happen. You stop wasting energy debating whether or not you'll do it, and instead you direct all your energy into execution. Most people struggle because they don't make real decisions, they only make half-hearted commitments. They say they want something, but they leave themselves an escape route. They tell themselves, I'll try, or I'll see how it goes, which means they're not fully in. And when you're not fully in, you hesitate, you procrastinate, you let fear creep in. But when you make an unshakable decision, you eliminate the option of failure in your mind. The only way forward is action. Look at successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and leaders. They don't sit around hoping for things to change. They decide what they want and take massive, relentless action until they achieve it. They don't wait for motivation. They create it through action. They don't let fear stop them. They use it as fuel. When you make a true decision, action is no longer a question. It becomes automatic. You stop talking, stop overthinking, and start doing. You push through obstacles, you adjust when necessary, and you keep moving forward because failure is not an option. And the moment you take that first bold step, you build momentum. Momentum turns into progress, progress turns into results, and results reinforce your decision, making you even more committed. It all starts with one real decision, one that leaves no room for hesitation, doubt, or retreat, because when you truly decide, action is the only thing that follows. Step 4, emotion drives decision making. Every decision you make, whether you realize it or not, is driven by emotion. Logic might help you analyze options, weigh pros and cons, and consider consequences, but in the end, emotion is what pushes you to act. It's what makes you say enough is enough, or I have to do this now. Without emotion, decisions lack urgency, and without urgency, there is no action. Think about the biggest decisions you've made in your life. Were they purely logical, or was there an emotional charge behind them? Maybe you finally walked away from a toxic relationship, not just because it made sense on paper, but because you felt deep in your gut that you couldn't take it anymore. Maybe you took a leap of faith in your career, not just because it looked like a good move, but because the thought of staying where you were made you feel suffocated. Maybe you committed to changing your health, not because you read statistics about fitness, but because you reached a point where you couldn't stand looking in the mirror and feeling the way you did. Pain and pleasure are the two forces that drive every decision. People move away from pain and toward pleasure. If you associate enough pain with staying the same and enough pleasure with taking action, change becomes inevitable. The reason most people stay stuck is that they haven't linked enough emotion to their decision. They say they want to improve their life, but they haven't fully felt the pain of not changing, and they haven't fully visualized the joy, freedom, and power that will come from taking action. This is why some people struggle to break bad habits or commit to their goals. They know what they should do, but they haven't built enough emotional leverage to make the decision stick. They tell themselves, I need to get in shape, but the pain of working out seems greater than the pain of staying the same. They say, I should start that business, but they haven't made the fear of regret stronger than the fear of failure. The most powerful decisions happen in moments of heightened emotion, when something clicks inside you and you say, that's it, I will not live like this anymore. These are the moments that create lasting transformation because they aren't just intellectual choices, they're emotional breakthroughs. When someone finally hits their breaking point, when the pain of inaction becomes unbearable, that's when they make a real decision. And once that emotional shift happens, action follows naturally. People who create massive success in life don't just rely on logic, they master their emotions. They train themselves to associate pain with staying stuck and pleasure with taking bold action. They use visualization, focus, and strong language to create the emotional intensity necessary to drive them forward. They don't wait for motivation, they manufacture it by controlling what they feel. If you look at any life-changing moment, you'll see that it wasn't just a rational choice, it was an emotionally charged decision. Because at the end of the day, emotion is what turns thoughts into action and dreams into reality. Step 5, your standards dictate your life. Your life right now is a direct reflection of the standards you've set for yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously. The way you think, the way you act, the results you get in every area, from your health to your relationships to your finances, all come down to one thing: what you are willing to accept as your norm. If you have high standards, you demand more from yourself and push beyond obstacles. If your standards are low, you settle, you tolerate, and you make excuses. People often wonder why some individuals achieve extraordinary success while others struggle just to get by. The answer isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. It's standards. Some people refuse to accept mediocrity. They don't just try to be in shape, they demand it from themselves. They don't just hope to be financially free, they make it a must. Others, however, tolerate being out of shape, tolerate living paycheck to paycheck, tolerate relationships that drain them. It's not because they want these things, it's because their standards allow it. Look at any area of your life where you feel stuck or frustrated, and you'll find that you've been tolerating something below what you truly desire. Maybe you keep saying you want more money, but deep down you've accepted financial struggle as your reality. Maybe you say you want a passionate relationship, but you've settled for one that lacks connection. Maybe you tell yourself you want more energy, but you've allowed yourself to live on junk food and excuses. The moment you raise your standards, when you decide, truly decide that you will no longer accept anything less than what you deserve, everything begins to shift. You stop negotiating with your own limitations. You stop making excuses. You stop saying, I should, and start saying, I must. Think about someone who suddenly transformed their life. They didn't just get lucky. They hit a point where they said, enough. This is not who I am. And in that moment, they changed their standards. They changed what they demanded from themselves. They changed what they believed they were capable of. The most successful people in the world hold themselves to a higher standard than anyone else. They don't wait for external pressure to push them. They push themselves. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. They don't accept anything below their best because their identity doesn't allow it. Your standards are what you consistently do, not what you say you want. If you want to know someone's real standards, don't listen to their words, look at their action. The person who consistently exercises no matter what has a high standard for their health. The person who constantly invests in learning and growth has a high standard for their personal development. The person who works relentlessly to build financial security doesn't just want wealth, they expect it from themselves. When you raise your standards, you raise the quality of your life. You stop settling, you stop tolerating, and you start demanding more from yourself in every way. And the moment you make that shift, the world responds to you differently. You attract better opportunities, better relationships, and better outcomes because you are operating at a higher level. Most people never change because they set their goals without changing their standards. They aim for success while still accepting failure as an option. They wish for a better life while tolerating habits that keep them stuck. But those who transform their lives do one thing differently. They raise what they expect from themselves and refuse to settle for anything less. Step 6, decide to own your future. Your future is not something that just happens to you, it's something you create. Every single day, with every choice you make, you are shaping the direction of your life. The problem is that most people don't take ownership of their future. They drift, they blame circumstances, their past, other people, or even bad luck for where they are. But the truth is, until you take full responsibility for your life, until you decide with absolute certainty that you are in control, nothing will change. Look around and you'll see two types of people. Those who make excuses and those who make things happen. Those who play the victim and those who take charge. Those who wait for life to get better and those who make life better. The difference? A decision to own their future instead of letting circumstances dictate it. Owning your future starts with one fundamental realization. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to magically hand you the life you want. If you want success, you have to create it. If you want happiness, you have to build it. If you want freedom, you have to take control. The moment you truly accept that your destiny is in your hands, you stop waiting, you stop blaming, and you start acting. People who don't take ownership of their future tend to live in the past. They focus on what went wrong, who hurt them, what mistakes they made, or what opportunities they missed. But here's the truth. Your past does not define your future. Your decisions do. It doesn't matter where you've been or what you've gone through. The only thing that matters is what you decide to do next. The most successful people in the world weren't handed success. They weren't given an easy path. What they did have was an unshakable belief that they control their own destiny. They refused to let their environment, their upbringing, their failures, or other people's opinions dictate their future. Instead, they made a choice. I will create the life I want no matter what. Taking ownership means eliminating excuses. It means stopping the blame game. It means recognizing that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. It means understanding that every time you make an excuse, you give away your power. But every time you take responsibility, you gain power. Owning your future also requires massive action. It's not enough to simply decide, you have to prove it with your actions. That means setting goals, making a plan, and executing with intensity. It means being relentless in the pursuit of what you want, refusing to let setbacks stop you, and never settling for less than you're capable of. Most people let fear stop them. They let doubt keep them from taking risks. They wait for the right time, which never comes. But those who truly own their future don't wait, they create. They make decisions quickly. They take action even when they're scared, and they commit fully to their vision. It all comes down to a choice. You can either let life push you around, reacting to whatever comes your way, or you can take full control and design the life you want. The moment you decide, truly decide, to own your future, everything changes. At the end of the day, your life is a direct reflection of the decisions you make, the standards you set, and the level of action you take. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every moment of success begins with one thing: a decision to stop tolerating what no longer serves you. A decision to take control instead of waiting for life to change. A decision to raise your standards, take massive action, and create the future you truly deserve. Because here's the truth: nothing changes until you change. Your destiny isn't written by your past, your circumstances, or anyone else's opinion. It's written by the choices you make today. So what will you decide? Will you keep waiting, hesitating, and letting fear hold you back? Or will you step up, own your future, and take the actions that will transform your life forever? The power is in your hands. It always has been. Now is the time to make the decision that will change everything. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. Because your life will never be the same once you decide that nothing less than your best is acceptable. Make the choice, take control, and create the future you were meant to live.